So as we open up 2022, I just want to begin the year with issuing you a challenge. As you yearn to increase and enhance your own preaching skills, what better time than right now, the beginning of the year, to decide I am going to preach without notes. If you're a good note preacher, I promise you, you will be a better preacher without notes. And you can do this. Remember, if you're up there without notes and you forget where you are, the only person who knows you're lost is you. They won't know. You will always have the added benefit of engaging people with eye contact. They will listen better when they notice, hey, that guy's not using any notes. You have immediately enhanced credibility with your congregation. And so I just invite you to begin that process of learning to preach without notes as 2022 begins. So I've got another challenge for you as 2022 begins. If you have been accustomed to delivering sermons with multiple points, maybe they even alliterate, or no points, what a great time to begin making that transition to becoming a one-point preacher. The kind of preacher who can craft a bottom line. You can study the scripture, you will be biblically accurate, theologically faithful, but you'll add the skill of being rhetorically compelling. And you will come up with that bottom line so that the people who hear you preach will not leave with cluttered minds, but with clarified thinking. And one of my favorite bottom lines, and I've been preaching one-point sermons for about 15 years now, so I should have the hang of it, but one of my favorites came from 2020, and it was a message about resilience, which, hello, in 2020, 21, and looks like 22, we're having to learn resilience. But I crafted a bottom line coming from Proverbs 24:16 and throwing in some James chapter 1 for seasoning that said this: you can't be a complete failure when you know failure completes you. You can't be a complete failure when you know that failure completes you. That was one of those messages that resonated in people's minds, that they preached back to me in a way they never would have if I'd said, now church, I'm going to give you 4 steps to resilience today. That doesn't work. You'll never be a complete failure when you know that failure completes you. So my next challenge for you as 2022 begins is to always be on the lookout for sermon illustrations. And when I talk about sermon illustrations that you're looking for, it's things you see on television, it's things people say to you, it's advertisements that you witness, it's even interesting things that just happen to you during the day. And what you want to do is you want to go and jot those things down and put it in a file where you're collecting your illustrations on those given topics. I have files ranging from addiction and abortion all the way through worship and zeal and every topic in between. And those files are just filled with anecdotes and thoughts and articles. And in addition to all of that, the best source of your illustrations is your own life, your own history. Become an expert at excavating your own past to draw out interesting things that will animate your preaching. I just recently, I was giving a message on Psalm number 139. I am fearfully and wonderfully made, knit together in my mother's womb. And somehow in all of that, of course, what a great way of understanding and exalting the ways that God has made us and created us. And I just happen to remember that a conversation I had where my mom was there. And I'm the youngest of 8. And I'm much younger than everybody else in my family. My dad was 50 when I was born. My mom was 46. And number 7 is 7 years older than me. So if you do the math, if you know the facts of life, you know that I wasn't really a thought. I wasn't an afterthought. I was a whoops. And so I realized that. And I shared that with the church. And remember that time that I was with my mom. I was probably 19 or 20. And she was talking to a friend about her family and about her 8th child, me. And I piped in and I said, yeah, I was a mistake. And my mom, God bless her, corrected me with the nicest thing she's ever said. And she said, no, you were a pleasant surprise. And I was able to then look at the people of Good Shepherd and say, there's not a mistake in the bunch. You're all a pleasant surprise in the eyes of your Father. That's how to excavate your own history, your own stories, to animate the messages you give today. Let that be your challenge for 2022. I'm going to keep my eyes open for what's around me and what I have lived through as I seek to bring my sermons to life.